of words. Recommended to start variable name with lowercase letter. If a variable name contains multiple words, then recommended to write first word all characters in lowercase, and from second word onwards every word first character in uppercase. See here, there is only one word. All the characters are in the lowercase. Here there are two words available. First word all characters in the lowercase. Second word first character uppercase. Credit card number. There are three words available. Credit is one word, card is one word, number is one word. First word all characters are lowercase. Second word first character uppercase. Third word first character uppercase. This is the naming convention for variables. This is the naming convention for variables. Understand the difference between class name naming convention and variable name naming convention. Class name naming convention for the class name and a naming convention for the variables. Are you able to find the difference between those two? Class name, every word first character is uppercase. In the variable, all the first word characters are lowercase. From second word, every first character is uppercase. From second word onwards, every first character is uppercase. That is the naming convention for variables. That is the naming convention for variables. Are you guys clear with my point? Now, when you see that, when we have written some programs, welcome.java, can you see system? Can you see system here? System. In system is a predefined class. That's why S is a capital. System is a predefined class. S is a capital. Okay, good. Next one, methods, guys. Methods naming convention. Methods naming convention. Here, thing is, in the Java, for variable names and method names, naming convention is same. For the variable names and method names, naming convention is the same. Okay? So, method name can have any number of words. Method name can have any number of words. Recommended to start method name with lowercase letter. Recommended to start method name with lowercase letter. If a method name contains multiple words, then recommended to write first word all characters in lowercase, and from second word onwards every word first character in uppercase. Sir, if variable names and method names conventions are same, then how can we differentiate whether it is a variable or whether it is a method? For the method, curly braces will be available. Main is a method. Method will have a braces. Like this. Okay. If I want to write a method called save, one word is available. I'm writing like this. Save. If I want to write a method save user. So save is one word. User is one word. Okay. First word all characters in the lowercase. From second word onwards everything is in the uppercase. Now I want to write one method, get welcome message. See here, there are three words available. Get is one word, welcome is one word, message is one word. So three words available in the method name. Variable naming convention and method naming convention is same in the Java. Variable naming convention, method name is the same. The difference between the variable name and method name, variable names will not have the braces. Parentheses will not be available for the variable names, whereas for the method names, parentheses will be available. Whereas for the methods, parentheses will be available. So this is a method name. Parentheses represents it is a method. Get to welcome message. Get is one word. All characters are in the lowercase because it is a first word. Now, welcome message. Welcome is one word, second word, message is one word, third word. In the second word, first character is uppercase. In the third word, first character is also uppercase. Variable naming convention, method name convention is same. Variable names will not contain the parenthesis. After the method name, parenthesis will be available. After the method name, parenthesis will be available. Now, if you see my previous classes, now, can you see here? I have written a method name, invoke greet API. Now you understand why I am writing this method name. See here, get to welcome message. Why I am writing the method name as get to welcome message like this? Get is one word, welcome is one word, message is one word. Can you see? Greet client is a variable. How I am writing the greet client? It is my user defined variable. Greet is a variable. Greet is a variable. Greet client. Greet is a first word. Client is a second word. First word, all characters are lowercase. Second word, first character is uppercase. As it is a variable, parenthesis is not available. And get to welcome message. Get is first word, all lowercase. Welcome second word, first character is uppercase. Message third word, first character is uppercase. Understand? Method names contains parenthesis. Variable names doesn't contain parenthesis. Now, by looking at the program, some people will understand. Ashok, you told that @ is not allowed in the Java. @ I am using here. How you are using @ in the line number 10? How you are using @ in the line number 13? How you are using @ in the line number 7? So that is a different concept, guys. There is a concept called annotations in the Java. When it comes to annotations, you will understand what is @. Here I am not using @ for identifier. So this @ auto void, it is not an identifier here. It is an annotation. That is a special concept in the Java. This annotations introduced in the Java 1.5 version. In the coming classes, we will understand what is annotation. Okay? We are not able to understand this program. This program is Java real-time project batch. After 6 months, you will understand what is this program, not now. This program is, we have written this program in the Java project batch. After 6 months, you will understand this program, not now. After 6 months, you will develop this kind of programs. It is a real-time project batch program. Okay? You cannot understand now because you are still in the basics of the Java. This is a real-time project batch. That is the last part of our course. We are in the beginning stage. Just titles are coming. That's it. Picture baki hai bhai. Picture baki hai. Just titles started. That's it. Picture baki hai. बहुत picture baki hai bhai. बाद में पता चलेगा. Okay. Naming conventions. These naming conventions are also called as coding conventions. Naming conventions are also called as coding conventions. So whatever the naming conventions which are following by Java, they are telling us to follow the same. Now, can I use all uppercase letters for a class? Can I write a class name with all uppercase letters? Guys, come on. Can I write a class with all uppercase letters? Is it valid or it is invalid? Invalid. But is it recommended? Writing a class with all uppercase letters is valid, guys. It is valid. Valid. But recommended? Not recommended. Not recommended. A class name can have all uppercase characters. You can write it, but not recommended. But not recommended. Yeah. Can you see naming conventions for class? Can you see the naming conventions for the class? Naming conventions for a class name. Can you read this? Recommended to write every word first character as uppercase in the class name. So these are some of the examples. These are some of the examples. naming conventions for the variables. Naming conventions for the variables. What is the naming convention for the variables? Naming convention for the variables. For all the characters in the lowercase. All the characters in the lowercase. If it contains multiple words, first word all characters lowercase, second word onwards every first character as uppercase. That is the naming convention for variable. Variable naming conventions and the methods naming conventions are same. Variable naming conventions and method naming conventions are same. Variable naming conventions and method naming conventions are same. Then when I look at the identifier, how can I understand whether it is a variable name or whether it is a method name? How can we differentiate? How can we differentiate variable name and method name? How can we differentiate variable name and method name? Guys, how can I differentiate variable name and method name? How can we differentiate a variable name and method name? Parenthesis. Variable names will not have the parenthesis and method names will have the parenthesis. Parenthesis. Got it? Remember that. Variable names will not have the parenthesis. Variable names, variables and methods, naming convention, naming conventions. Naming convention is same, but naming convention is same. Naming convention is same, but methods will have parenthesis. Methods will have parenthesis. Methods will have parenthesis. Methods will have parenthesis. Variables will not have parenthesis. Methods will have the parenthesis, variables will not have the parenthesis. That is the difference. Okay. Naming convention for constants. Naming conventions for constants. When we are working with a program, we will declare some variables as a constant variables. Constants means the values will not be changed. The variable whose value is not going to change, it is called as a constant variable. Okay, constant means fixed value. Constant means fixed value. Okay, so here when we are working with a constant, recommended to write all characters, recommended to write constant variable, recommended to write constant variable all characters in uppercase. If constant variable contains multiple words, every word recommended to separate with underscore. Okay, constant means fixed value, guys, whose value is not going to change. Value will not change, it is fixed. It is fixed. Pi value, you can see pi value, right? Pi value is not going to change. Okay, constant means fixed value. Value will not change in future. It is fixed. When we are working with the constants in the Java, recommended to write a constant variable all characters in uppercase. If constant variable contains multiple words, recommended to use underscore with all uppercase characters. Suppose for example, I want to represent a variable min age, okay, int min age, like this, int min age is, suppose for example, to get married, minimum age required is 21, int min underscore age, then int max underscore age is equal to 60. Okay, these two values are not going to change. For example, if you go to any nowadays you can see matrimony websites in the internet. If you want to find your life partner in the online, there are some apps available, there are some websites available. So if you want to create your profile in the matrimonial website, can 10 years old person can upload a profile in the matrimony for marriage? Can 10 years person upload a profile in the matrimony website for marriage? No, right? There is some limit. Some minimum age and some maximum age is available. Can 90 years old person can upload a profile in the matrimony for marriage? 90 years old person? No. We are going to decide some min age and max age. Okay, so these are some constants. So when we are going to make a constant, the variable, if you want to take the variable as a constant variable, first of all, to represent the variable as a constant in the Java, we don't use a constant keyword. Constant is an unused keyword. To make the variable as a constant, there is a modifier called final. If I want to represent this as a final variable, right? Final is the keyword we are going to use. To represent this as a constant variable. When I take the final keyword, it is a reserved word in the Java. When I take a final keyword in the Java, this variable value cannot be changed in the future. It is a fixed value. So as this variable is a final variable, it is called as a constant variable. For the constant variable, recommended to take all the characters in uppercase. It represents as a constant. Min underscore age, max underscore age. Okay, so min is one word, age is one word. When there are two words, when there are more words, recommended to use underscore with all uppercase characters. Min underscore age, max underscore age. For example, you want to declare pi value, int pi, 3.14 something value will be available. Pi value is not going to change. It is a fixed value. Are you able to understand what is the naming convention for constants? Able to understand what is the naming convention for constants? Come on, guys. Naming convention for constants. Next one, naming convention for packages. When we are working with the packages in the Java, naming conventions for packages. So, package name can have any number of characters. Okay? Package name can have any number of characters. Recommended to use only lowercase letters. Package name can have any number of characters and any number of words. Recommended to use only lowercase letters in package names. If a package name having multiple words, we will use dot. If a package name contains multiple words, we will use dot. For example, I want to use a package name java.lang package available. These all are the predefined packages given by Java. Java.lang package will be available. Java.lang, java.io, java.util. Suppose if I want to create my package, I will create in.ashok.it. You see here java.util is a package. It is a predefined package. This is the naming convention following by Java. Java.util is a package name. Java.io is a package name. Java.lang is a package name. Okay guys, java.lang, java.io, java.util, in.ashok.it. Tomorrow when you go for a company, com.oracle, and com.ibm, like these packages will be available. So package name can have any number of characters, can have any number of words. You see, here I am using one package name from the Spring Framework. Can you see here? org.springframework.beans.factory.annotation. This is a package name. Any number of characters, any number of words. So when if package name contains multiple words, then we will use dot to separate words. Clear with my point, guys? These are the naming conventions for the packages. Whatever the naming conventions we are discussing, these naming conventions are mandatory or these naming conventions are optional. Okay guys, here when I am writing a constant, if you write the constant with the final, you cannot change it. You cannot change this variable value. It is a fixed value. If you don't write it as a final, then you can change in the future based on the requirement. You can change the value based on the requirement. If you use a final, that value cannot be changed in the future. You cannot modify this variable value when the final is available. If the final is not available, you can reassign the value for the variable. Now, you can reassign the value for this variable when the final is not available. When the final is available, it is a fixed value. That value you cannot modify in your program. That is the meaning of a final. Final means a constant. So these all are the naming conventions, guys. These naming conventions are followed by Sun Microsystem, and they are telling us to follow the same naming convention so that the program readability will be available. The program's readability will be available. These are naming conventions in the Java. Can you please read these naming conventions now? Java naming conventions. Java naming Java language followed some standards or conventions. Recommended. It's recommended to write every word first character spaces. All characters. Method naming convention. Words without spaces. Recommend is, and from second word save user is one. By Sun Micro. Same. Then naming convention. Constant means program. Can I change the value again to 35? Can I change the value to 35? Now, let me go to one simple program. Here, I am taking a variable as integer age is equal to 30. Now, can I change the value again to 35? Can I change the value to 35? Yes or no? Here I am initializing the variable. Here I am reinitializing the variable. I am modifying the value. I am modifying the value. So this is a normal variable. If I make it as a final, now see, for the final variable, reinitialization is not accepted. It is giving error. The final variable cannot be assigned. It must be a blank and not using in the compound assignment. Okay guys, so you should not do like this. If you want to make it as a constant, keep the final. When you keep it as a final, reinitialization is not possible. Whenever we are declaring the variable as a final constant, recommended to write like this. All characters in the uppercase. If it is having two characters, 2 words, if we have 2 words, recommended to separate with underscore. This is for a constant. When I look at a variable name like this, I will understand that it is a constant variable. By looking at the variable name, I can say that it is a constant variable. All characters in uppercase, if 2 words are available, every word will be separated with underscore. That is the naming convention for the constant. Okay guys, next one, package names. So in the initial classes we discussed Java programming structure. We discussed about Java programmable. If a package dot Ashok IT examples for the package concept called interfaces, conventions are same. The naming convention for the interface, every word first character uppercase. Class name and interface names conventions are same. Class naming conventions and interface naming conventions are same. Class names and interface names conventions are same. A class name can contain any number of words. Interface name also can contain any number of words. Recommended to write every word first character as uppercase in the class name. Similarly, for interface name also, recommended to write every word first character as uppercase. These are the Java naming conventions. People will call them as Java coding standards. Java coding standards, I can say. Java naming conventions are, we can call it as Java coding standards, best practices that you need to follow as a Java developer. These are the best practices you need to follow as a Java developer. Let me show you. We have developed a lot of code, guys. We have developed a lot of code in the Java real-time project batch. So don't worry about that code. Just to see the naming convention. In future, we are going to write hundreds of lines of code. Can you see the naming convention here? Guys, can you see the naming convention that I am using for the package name? in.ashokit.service. Can you see all the characters are in the lowercase with the dot symbol? Can you see? The naming conventions? in.ashokit.service. Am I following package naming conventions properly? When I am developing a project, am I following package naming convention properly? Come on guys. Yes, I am following this as a package naming convention. And can you see class name, user management service IMPL. User management service IMPL. Am I following the class naming convention? User is one word, management is one word, service is one word, IMPL is one word. I am following the class naming convention. Here logger is a variable. All the characters are in the lowercase. Logger, it is one word. So when the variable is having only one word, all are in the lowercase. Here you see user master repo. User is one word, master is one word, repo is one word. It is a variable naming convention. Okay guys, variable naming convention, method naming conventions are also called as camel case format. Okay, first character, first word all lowercase, second word first character uppercase, third word first character uppercase. Email utils, this is a variable. So email first word all lowercase, utils second word U uppercase. Random is a single word, all are in the lowercase. My method name, save user, save is one word, all lowercase, user, 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 second word, first character uppercase, parenthesis available. So this is a method, this is a variable. When you look at this, there is no parenthesis, all the characters are in the lowercase, that means it is a variable. And can you see, activate user account, activate user account. Activate is one word, user is one word, account is one word. Activate, first word all the lowercase, second word first character uppercase, third word first character uppercase. You are seeing my real-time project, our Java real-time project code. You see, there are almost 200 lines of code is available. Read email body. Read is one word. Email is one word. Body is one word. This is a method name because parenthesis available. You see my naming conventions that I am writing. URL is a variable. One word, all are lowercase. Mail body is a variable. Mail first word, all the lowercase. Body second word, first character is uppercase. Am I following these naming conventions in my project also? Guys, are we following these naming conventions in the project also? Come on. Yes, we are following these naming conventions in the project. It is highly recommended. Java suggested that. So we are going to follow those naming conventions. You see, in the beginning only, I am trying to compare our concepts with the real-time project batch. In the initial days only, it is completely project-oriented training, guys. It is completely project-oriented training. In the initial days only, I am comparing our concepts with the project that I am developing in one of my project batch. Java real-time project batch. How companies, in the companies, how we are going to develop the project, in the same way we are going to develop the project. So how I am following the naming conventions there, same thing we are learning as a beginner in the core Java. Samjhe? Naming conventions. All of you got the clarity? So today, what are the topics that we discussed today? Today we discussed about identifiers, we discussed about keywords, and we discussed about naming conventions. Guys, with this, our first chapter completed in core Java. Chapter 1, or I can say unit 1. First chapter completed. So what we have learnt in the first chapter? In the first chapter we learnt what is Java. And we discussed about Java features. And we discussed about Java setup, Java environment setup, installation part, Java environment setup, and we discussed about JDK versus JRE versus JVM, Java program execution flow also we discussed. Java programs development we have done. Simple Java programs development we have done. Then after, we discussed about variables concept. We discussed about data types concept. And we discussed about identifiers today. And we discussed about reserved words in Java. 53 reserved words available in the Java. And we discussed about Java naming conventions or Java coding standards. And we discussed about Java comments also. So these are the things that we have learnt in our chapter 1. Did we cover all these things, guys? What is Java? Java features, Java environment setup, JDK versus JRE versus JVM, Java programs execution flow, Java programs development, compilation and execution stuff we have done, and we discussed about variables concept, and we discussed about data types concept, we discussed about identifiers, we discussed about reserved words, we discussed about Java coding standards. I can also call it as naming conventions. And we discussed about Java comments. So with this, our first chapter completed in the core Java. So tomorrow our second chapter is going to start, guys. Chapter 2 is going to start. In the chapter 2, we are going to discuss about operators and control statements. In the second chapter, we are going to discuss about operators and control statements. Your control statements, nothing but your decision making statements will be available. Loops will be available. Looping statements will be available. And branching statements will be available. Break, continue, return, branching statements will be available in the chapter 2. In the chapter 3, we are going to learn arrays and strings. In the chapter 3, we are going to learn arrays and strings. Once it is completed, then our chapter 4 is OOPS. Our chapter 4 is OOPS concepts. Okay, so we are done with our first chapter. The basics of Java we have done. Okay, guys. So tomorrow we are going to start our chapter 2. I am working on the notes preparation also, guys. Chapter wise I am preparing the notes as well. So here, this is the notes that I have prepared. I have prepared the notes. I will share these notes in another 2 to 3 days of time. Chapter wise I am going to share now. So this is the material that I have prepared. So first I have given what is full stack development, introduction part I have given. And here I have prepared chapter 1 notes, unit 1 notes is prepared, completed already. What is Java and Java features with diagrams, complete theoretical part, how to install the Java and how to set the path for Java and Java program execution flow and programming structure. Whatever I am discussing in the class, it is my handwritten material. How to compile the program, how to run the program, how to compile the program, how to run, what are the translators, JVM architecture, our class diagram I kept here, JVM architecture, okay, variables concept, data types concept, primitive data types and floating data types, character data type, boolean data type, variables program, Java naming conventions that we discussed today, okay, coding conventions, naming conventions, identifiers, comments in the Java, all the reserved keywords in the Java, yesterday's diagram I updated here, reserved words in the Java. Then unit 2, so tomorrow we are going to learn this unit 2, operators we are going to learn, and control statements we are going to learn in the chapter 2. So in the chapter 3 we are going to learn arrays and strings, and in the chapter 4 we are going to learn our OOPS concepts. So this is the material I am preparing. So once I complete this material, I will share it with you people. So this is going to become very beautiful material. I am writing this material, everything from the scratch. Along with the programs, I am writing everything from the scratch. It will help you a lot to prepare for the interviews. Okay, guys. So tomorrow I will confirm the timings for the front-end classes, guys. So tomorrow I'm going to confirm the timings for the front-end classes and I will give the details how to